I dreaded having to do a voice note for this video, but for some reason the sound was off. So I've been talking about posting the flip through of this book that I've been working on for a while now. Started this book back in February during lockdown. Initially my intention was never to share this. However, I'm actually quite proud of the way it came out. I've never really painted before, so I don't consider myself an artist. I just kind of do this in my free time. I enjoy doing it. Got this little tiny pink book from Tesco, literally paid £2 for it. It was literally like a regular notebook. The pages were so thin that I had to stick them together because I didn't want the paint to sort of like seep through and ruin the next side. It would have been too thin. So the entire book was actually done in acrylic. There are other sort of, I think I used some watercolor in some of them and also some pens just to sort of spice it up a little bit. This is basically where I started off. This was another Tesco book that I got. I think this one was about £3. Couldn't help myself. The paper on that book was more sort of like thicker. You can now see the first painting, and I'm using air quotes, painting that I did. So before I even say anything, I basically went down to W.H. Smith and got the most basic supplies. So I got these brushes, and then I also got these acrylic paints, but it was mostly the basic colors, so kind of knocking down two birds with one stone.
Two birds.
Yeah, that's correct. And basically sort of obviously practice painting, but also practice color mixing. This is a reference off of Instagram. I think he is an Antiguan influencer. I did his photo zero justice, but basically this is just to kind of give you an idea of, I suppose, where I started. In terms of like with the acrylic painting, this is a very first painting that I did with the supplies that I got. And then getting into the video, I suppose you'll see how I sort of progressed. I feel like I've said enough, so I'm gonna get into it. This is gonna be so weird because I'm doing a voiceover. The voice and the hand movements are gonna be a bit off, but stick with it though. It's the first page of the book. Obviously this came with the book. These are references off of Pinterest. I don't have any theme per se. Scanned social media platform, just try to find stuff that I felt sort of jumped out to me, and I kind of just wanted to paint. There was no theme to it, and I just sort of went with it. First one was of Instagram, and the second was out of Pinterest. These were also Pinterest references, just flowers. This one, it was a bit challenging to start with, considering it was really just what fourth painting that I had done, and it was a lot of like really close colors to mix. So the pinks, that one was a bit challenging, and then that's when I sort of tried to get into the whole color mixing thing. As you can see, it's not finished, and you're gonna see that a lot, like some of them aren't actually finished. This was one of Kanye West's albums. Some of my favorite lyrics off of that album particularly, I think. I don't think it was overall, I think it was just particularly that album. And I wrote those with this white gel pen. I think it's called Jelly Roll pen. I think it's called Jelly Roll pen. I used this quite a bit throughout the book. You're gonna see that, and I think those pens are so cool for contrasts and highlights, and that is particularly what I used it for. Throughout the book you're gonna see it, and I will point it out as well. I used it quite a bit for highlights. It just gives this really cool effect, especially on darker backgrounds. These were Instagram references. I think the left one is an Instagram, and then the right one is actually a photo of Justine Sky that I had on my camera roll that I had intentions of sketching, but I never did. I was really satisfied with the background of the one of Justine Sky. I think it was just leftover paint that I didn't want to go to waste, and I kind of just did this really cool effect. And I was really satisfied with the way it came out. It was my first portrait. Blending was a struggle. Acrylic paint is just, it was really new to me, obviously, so when I felt like I was kind of messing up a little bit, I just sort of had fun with it and just remembered like it wasn't anything to be perfect. It was just me basically just exploring and just having fun with, you know, with the entire project. I know that guy looks like he has one ear, but I actually sketched out his second ear, and for whatever reason I just didn't end up finishing it or filling it in. It looks odd, but yeah, he does have an ear. It's just white, and this is probably one of not many self-portraits that I have ever done. But this was a picture that I took sometime last year. Just went ahead and put that in there. This was a Pinterest reference. I just was experimenting with the whole double page sort of image, so that was the first attempt at that. I really wish I did more of that page, but I just wanted to keep it simple, and it was done with red pen and acrylic paint. This was just to add a bit of variety. This is a reference off of Tumblr. I think I had one of those on a t-shirt at some point. I love the spin off on the Supreme logo with the tings, really just to add some variety and just sort of play around with the image of the book and just the variety of the book as well. So this was the whole graphic sort of lettering sort of side of that. This was off of Pinterest as well. These are meant to be lemons. I did the effects around it with highlighters. Just kind of love the way they blended and the way they sat on the acrylic paint after it dried and just sort of blended into each other. This was my second attempt at a portrait as well as a second attempt as a double spread. I think I got this reference off of Pinterest. Just getting used to like color mixing and color blending, and watch where I'm holding it like this. This is one of the paintings that I'm most proud of. This is a reference off of Instagram. The original was actually done in colored pencil, and it is absolutely perfect. I can't remember the artist's name, because the whole point of the book was really just to have fun, and I felt like if I ever got to a point where I was too concerned about it being perfect, I would have just sort of stopped it and just moved on to the next one. And that's sort of what happened here, because I felt like this painting was going so well and I didn't want to ruin it. And it was really late when I started this painting as well. I think I finished it, well, it's not finished, but I finished it at about 3 in the morning, and I was really tired. But then by the time the next day came around, I kind of didn't want to go back into it because I was just super scared that I would ruin it. So I just left it. I think I actually purposely did the other side, the other page black. This was another painting that I was really proud of as well. I think there was this Instagram page that it was like an art page that I just sort of went through, and any artists that stood out or paintings that stood out, I sort of just saved them and then just tried to recreate them later on. I was quite proud, mostly because I actually completed the painting, because I really have difficulty completing paintings, and it was one of those things where I just didn't want anything to compete with it, so I just did the other page black, to be completely honest. But here you can see the highlights that I was talking about with that jelly pen. This was another set of paintings I was really happy with the way they came out, although one isn't quite finished. But there's this artist in St. Lucia. I don't think he's actually St. Lucian. I think he's American. I think he moved from New York like a while back in like the 1990s, I'm not too sure. But he does some amazing paintings. I admire his work so much, the way he captures like village life. It's just amazing. I think his name is Jonathan Guy Gladding. I think it's Jonathan Guy Gladding. And he actually has a page as well, jagartist.com. The first painting on the right was actually, I took my time with that painting, so difficult. And then the one on the left, I really sort of just rushed. I sped through it, and I think again it was one of those 3 a.m. mornings. Super pleased about the way that spread came out, absolutely. I think these were also Instagram. I think one was Instagram, one was Pinterest. The sort of silk effect of the dress, kind of wanted to try my hand at that. Instagram reference as well. I think I actually removed something from that painting. I can't quite remember what it was. I think there was a girl on the bottom left, and I sort of removed her, and the other painting was a Pinterest reference as well. This spread, there's this Russian artist, I think she's about 17, 18, she's quite young. I love her work. So she sketches and then she digitally colors her work. These were the images that she sketched. She digitally colored them. So I basically just went along with the way she digitally colored them. And again, just sort of going for the colors, just really bright backgrounds. I think from here you're going to start to see me trying to be a bit more colorful and trying to play into colors, because it's really not my strongest point. These were also Instagram and Pinterest references. This reference is from an Instagram account. I cannot remember her name, but she is so amazing. I literally did not do her work justice here. It was a full image. I think it was a self-portrait as well. It was just like butterflies holding up her hair. I minus some of the stuff in there because I really didn't want to spend too much time with some of the paintings. This really does her work no justice. And then I used these black ink pens. I think they come in a pack of 5. And they have different point sizes. Again, all from W.H. Smith. I think there's like a 0.3 tip, a 0.5, 0.7, 0.1, 2.0. They're all like, they're varied in sizes. This was more an effort of variety of the book. I wanted to go with some really pastel-y colors. So that's where that's from. And then I used watercolors on the faces, but then I noticed that it was a bit difficult to kind of tell that they were faces, and so I used those pens as well, those really small point pens with the different sizes, and just sort of highlighted some of the colors just to sort of give the face some shape. And then I also used a jelly pen to sort of add some background. I think the idea was to go through the entire page, but I'm very low on patience and I just kind of wanted to move to the next page. I didn't want to spend too much time on one page, and so it wasn't exactly completed. This page was also Pinterest references, I believe, and again, just effort of variety, just trying something new, just being a little bit more artistic. I really love this page because some of the colors are just so like bright, and I think they were both Instagram references. Another one of my efforts in trying to use more color as much as style and content. I think the original photo was of just tons of flowers on her head. I didn't know how I was gonna actually translate that, because honestly it's just a lot of detail. So that was my way of kind of going about that. And this painting was also, I think, a reference off of Pinterest. It was quite small. This is one of my favorite spreads. It was just different. I got that reference off of Instagram, and then I wanted something to complement it, so I got this one off of Pinterest. I think I got this off of the Gucci page. I was inspired as well from another painting that I saw for the background and the sides and all the squiggly stuff, so I quite love the way that page came out, and it's different. This one I started, didn't finish. Another Instagram reference. I think at that point I was a bit fascinated with flames. I think there was more stuff on this. I just sort of took it out and just went with just the main images from the original. This was an Instagram reference as well. The original of this painting, I feel like you tend not to see all the different colors that compose mostly anything. I thought it was so interesting how there was those like different colors that he had in there. It was like the purples and the blues. And the original image had a boy, a little black boy in the front. I took him out, just edited that a bit. Pinterest, I think this was. COVID mask. I had this gold paint pen that I found. I had no clue what I was gonna do with it. And I started these paintings, obviously didn't finish it, but I felt like it was probably my opportunity to use it. It has like a shimmer. This image reference was off of Twitter. This one is an influencer. I think this was in my camera roll to sketch, but I never got around to sketching it. Didn't do her photo justice. This is off of Pinterest and Instagram. I didn't finish one of them. Simple page. Got that one off of Tumblr, and then the other side I think I had plans for it, but I wasn't sure what to do, and I just sort of left it. I think I saw this on a friend's Instagram. I had no idea what it was. I think it was like maybe about a week later I found out it was actually an album cover. But I really liked the color. It's not the best remake. It was just, I really loved the colors. And then I also saw this one off of Instagram. It has so much texture in the photo that I saw it with, and it was thick. That I think was the last image. Yep. As you can see, there's still a bit of pages left. But yeah, I was just quite satisfied with the book the way it was. This was hell to make.